So we have the final 8 nations who will contest the knockout phase of the 1992 African Nations Cup. Hello and welcome. Once again, we're in Dakar for the first quarter-final match between Nigeria and Zaire here inside the Friendship Stadium. We're preparing for the kick-off, the first of today's 2 live games coming up for you from Senegal. And Group A finished with Nigeria, one of 2 nations, 100% record for them. And Group B saw Cameroon going through, along with Nigeria's opponents today, Zaire. And so we're ready for the kickoff with the 2 sides preparing for the action. Nigeria and Zaire in opposition, 2 nations from the heart of the dark continent. But here on the western seaboard in Dakar, we're ready for the kickoff. Nigeria showing 3 changes from the side that beat Kenya in their last game. And there's also a couple of changes in the Zaire side. Let's join Martin O'Neill and first Clive Tilsley.
Thank you, Phil. The start of week 2 of the African Nations Cup marks the start of football proper. Time for the gloves to come off, for the sparring to stop, and for the knockout punches to start. The first of 4 quarter-finals in a little over 24 hours here on Screen Sport. Zaire, like their opponents today, Nigeria have made 3 changes to their lineup. The return of number 11, Kana, who scored the crucial goal in the qualifying group with Morocco after injury had kept him out of the game against Cameroon, the key feature there. The 3rd game these 2 sides have played in the last week. In fact, it's the 3rd game in 6 days for Zaire, who are wearing the yellow strip. Nigeria in green have had 4 clear days off. But having said that, Zaire's match with Cameroon on Thursday was a very tame affair because a draw suited both nations. The big Nigerian number 5 here, Uche Okechukwu, is back in action today, playing alongside Stephen Keshi at the heart of the defence. And that may just interest the Leeds United manager, Howard Wilkinson, who was linked with Okechukwu in 1 or 2 newspaper columns last weekend. But amongst the interested parties in Dakar this week, the Italian coach Arrigo Sacchi, and an awful lot of scouts and agents representing major European clubs. Nigeria with Ukbadi, who's taken over from Ruben Agbula of Swansea City at left back today. His long throw easily fielded by Pangi Merikani. And Martin O'Neill alongside me. That'll be a disappointment for Ruben because it was thought that he'd come back to play for Swansea City at the weekend. He stayed out there because Nigeria have reached the quarter-finals and now he's lost his place.
Very much so, Clive. Yeah, disappointing for Ruben. Not much you can do about that, but he'll be hoping that they get through this round and perhaps regain his place for the semi-final. I think they will have a wee bit of trouble here today. I feel that Zaire can't really say now after 2 games an unknown quantity, but very much the outsiders in this particular game. But I have a funny feeling they might spring a surprise here.
Well, both of these teams have shown an eye for the dramas of sudden death cup football in the opening week. Nigeria scored a late winner to claim the scalp of the host nation Senegal on the opening day. Fine way to treat your hosts, as Makengo sends Zaire forward and Balenga wins the first corner of the game. Zaire scored an even later equaliser against Morocco last Tuesday. The key goal in Group B, scored with seconds to spare. Zaire then scored in the opening seconds against Cameroon. 2 goals for them so far, 1 in the first minute, 1 in the last. Well, they've not scored in the first minute of this game, but with it 3 minutes old, they have their first opportunity. But Okechukwu, a towering figure, getting it clear. And the shot wide of the mark, fielded by Agu. Ezioku is the right back. And the 2 Nigerian strikers have already made a bit of a name for themselves. Yekini there in picture, the taller of the 2, scored twice against Kenya in their last match. Sia, who's smaller and pacier, an ideal foil for him, scored in the opening game against Senegal. Yekini with those 2 goals, in fact, his joint top scorer in the tournament so far. This This is Stephen Keshi, who got that late winner against Senegal on the opening day. And here's Okechukwu of Brøndby in Denmark, his central defensive colleague. 4 minutes played, it's goalless. Nigeria now making some progress with Eguavon. But Kasongo is back there to prevent his progress. That's in towards Sia. Dealt with well by Lokosi. And brought clear by Kasongo. Hangi Medikani is the Zaire goalkeeper. Zaire have reached the quarter-finals without winning a game. 2 goals, 2 draws, enough to spring a surprise in Group B and send Morocco home early. Nigeria played 2, won 2, and deservedly won 2. They could have beaten Kenya by more than 2-1. The Kenyans scored a late penalty in that match, never threatened any more. And Zaire would have to pull off another major shot to interrupt their progress to the semi-finals. Stranger things have happened. This is Keshi. And there goes Yekini stretching his legs. Marshalled all the way by Bwana at the heart of the Zaire defence. Kasongo getting forward from left back. Tracked all the way by Adepoju. It's a useful ball played through by Kana, and Keshi had to be across quickly to get in the challenge and deny Kana, who didn't play in the last game. He scored that crucial late goal against the Moroccans, but didn't face Cameroon. And his first touch just let him down a little bit and gave Keshi a side of the ball. He was able to clear for this corner. It's an awkward one, and it's well fielded by Aloy Agu, the Nigerian goalkeeper who plays his club football in Holland for Maastricht in the first division. But certainly, Martin, Zaire, the outsiders, as you suspected, showing a willingness to go forward.
Yeah, certainly. I noticed that Nigeria have conceded a little bit of ground in the middle of the field. It's very early days to be start thinking about concession of ground. But Zaire have a nice little start.
Here's Yekini, though, trying to set up Sia, but referee had already blown for a free kick.
I think the first thing you think about, Clive, is that the pitch, although it looks a wee bit threadbare, is bearing up reasonably well for the number of games that have been played on it. I suppose the time the final is upon us, then we're likely to see it in even worse condition. But it's as they just play a ball across the back four, it's looking not so bad.
Free kick, which Kasongo will take. Certainly at an impressive technique level from the Zaire team in the opening stages, all neat and tidy and comfortable in possession. That's a clever little 1-2, trying to work Makengo into some space, and they're getting in behind Nigeria, forcing some promising positions.
I think it was a little bit of a dive there, but incident before that, I thought it was feet were very high by the Nigerian defender. Zaire, as you mentioned, getting off to a reasonably good start. I think their 2 results will have certainly put an awful lot of confidence into them. You tell me anyway that in terms of the Cameroon game, it was very much a matter of just playing time out when they decided that both sides were going to go through. But their late equaliser, deserved equaliser against Morocco in the early game, augurs well for them.
There's a bit of dash about them in attack. Simba almost getting Makengo in behind the Nigerians again. And Mbaki Makengo, who plays his club football in Belgium with Ekron. He's actually had some UEFA Cup experience, has got forward with some effect twice down this right-hand side. A corner which the skipper, Kingambo, will take. But Agu's penalty area is seeing plenty of the early action. Okechukwu had a little bit of space to control and bring that clear, but it's quickly won back, and here's Makengo again. Ndinga. This is Simba. Crossed in by the fullback once more, cleared by Keshi. But Yekini and Siasir up front are just feeding off crumbs at the moment. Buana, though, caught in possession that time by Siasir. Sharp challenge by Ubadi is penalised. He's the man who's taken over from Ruben Agbula at left back. First time we've seen him in the tournament. Yekini fouled and not too keen to kiss and make up with Ngalula Buana. Very, very ambitious effort indeed from Augustine Eguavon.
You get the impression from Nigeria that they're prepared to soak up an awful lot of pressure, expecting Yekini and Siasir to be able to do something for them up front. Yekini, a joint leading goal scorer with 2 goals, but considering that I think there are another 18 players and 1 goal each, Clive, then perhaps that might change by the afternoon, never mind by the end of the competition.
A real sense of expectancy in the stadium this afternoon. One has to say due mainly to the fact that Senegal, the host nation, are next on court against Cameroon. That really is the outstanding looking quarter-final tie. But it may just be that the men in green here, Nigeria, who haven't made the best of starts to this game, would be considered more likely finalists at this stage than even Cameroon. They're certainly being given plenty to think about by a very eager Zaire team in these opening stages.
I think Zaire have adopted the absolutely correct approach here. They've decided that there's no point in letting reputation have any sort of hold on you. You might as well get in amongst it early on. And the few attacks that they have been able to make, as I say, has given them an awful lot of confidence. I think that the big breakthrough is actually trying to get in front of Nigeria, because you just feel that they, who look the more composed players, certainly in their positions here, would feel that if they can get the goal, that Zaire, there might not be any comeback from them. But I think at the minute Zaire playing reasonably well.
Yes, well, now we're into straight knockout cup football. Zaire have very much taken on the mantle of the cup underdogs, and they've approached a go-for-it start to the game. Here's Yekini going for Siasir's through ball and almost going for Merikani, the goalkeeper, too. But there's a sense of invention about Zaire coming forward. Eziogu back that time to check their progress. Nigeria just trying to see out the early pressure and really get a base camp in the game, establish a foothold. And they're just beginning to do that now with Adepoju here. Here is Yekini, tried to let it run for Elahor, who didn't support him behind. By Kingambo, Kasongo. It's a flag up, I think. Certainly a free kick to Nigeria. The referee today is Idrissa Sarr, who comes from Mauritania. Just off. Linesmen haven't been troubled too much by offside decisions in the tournament so far. It's been one of the encouraging signs here. The tournament yet to truly catch fire, but that's often the way with these major international competitions. It's now when we're down to the last 8 and sudden death but things really start to happen. Bardi trying to make things happen for Nigeria. Yakini's in there. It was a brave stop by Merikani. If Yakini was onside, and I don't think he was.
I think he was definitely offside. I think that's the decision that has been given anyway. But well-worked little move. And I'll tell you what, he was
levelish. He might just have had a left foot over the line. News has only really been filtering through today of a really tragic incident here in Dakar after Senegal clinched their qualification for the quarterfinals with the win over Kenya, which we saw 2 or 3 days ago. During the celebrations in Dakar, we understand that 7 people were killed. Major incident, time which obviously the Nations Cup was hoping to avoid, but there's always a rather volatile nature. Great feeling for the game, particularly in the West African countries. That information has come through to us today of tragedy here in Dakar after Senegal's successful passage to the quarter-final at Kenya's expense. Senegal to come later today. This is Nigeria in green against Zaire in yellow. It's goalless after 15 minutes, and it's Zaire doing all the attacking. And another important header under pressure by Okechukwu, and another corner one for Zaire. Simba got forward that time to force it. Kasongo is in there too. Various Senegalese dignitaries gathering as Makengo prepares to take this corner for Zaire. Went back and cleared by Elahor. Here's Buana. Turned on well though by Balenga. They've still got a lot of men forward in this attack, Zaire. They've not been frightened to commit men to the Nigerian penalty area. Good skill again, and another header by Okechukwu, and his extra size has been a key weapon for Nigeria in these opening stages. They'll be glad to have the big 6-foot centre-half back.
Just been disappointed by Zaire. They've had 3 corner kicks, reasonably quick succession, and they've tried the out-swinging corner all 3 times. We get a very, very good picture of it there, as you notice when he steps up to take the corner, of how difficult it is for someone coming in to be, even if he gets a full connection on it, he's too far out to head the ball into the net. The very last one dropped a little bit shorter. But I just think that why not try and swing one in? Just have a go and have someone in the near post at least cause them a problem or two, because if it beats everyone, you never know. There might be somebody at the back post to stick it in. But those out-swinging corners are causing, they're certainly causing Zaire or Nigeria absolutely no problem at all. And they've been able to get it away reasonably easily.
Thompson Oliha has won a free kick, which he'll take himself. Hung in towards Yakini. Goalkeeper under a little bit of pressure. Didn't make the most convincing of punches. This is Keshi trying to force it forward. Well checked, though. One back by Elahor. Gombo came across with the challenge. Friday Elahor, who plays with Okechukwu for the Danish club Brøndby. There's Ogu being stretched again here. Right back seeing plenty of the early action as Zaire come at Nigeria from both flanks, and they're not frightened to switch the point of the direction of their attack very, very quickly indeed. We've seen a lot of short passing games from the African nations so far. There's a little bit more variety about Zaire.
Yeah, they were excellent against Morocco in exactly that sphere, where they were able to get down the touchline, especially King Gambo in the first half caused Morocco an awful lot of problems. And I think they've attempted the same sort of play today. Hopefully that something a wee bit better than the final cross will come of it.
0-0 the score. We've had 18 minutes here in Dakar, the first of the quarterfinals. Nigeria in green, Zaire in yellow. Nigeria, clear favourites to progress to the semi-finals. But if you weren't aware of that, you'd think that it was the men in yellow who were looking the more likely. Zaire have made a very purposeful start to this match.
As it is with underdogs generally, Clyde, you feel that they must get a breakthrough. They must get the first goal in this match. I think there's something about Nigeria. You feel they're able to cope with plenty of pressure, and especially with having Sia and Yekini up front, they're always likely to create something.
Alahor getting in that very deep cross indeed, and there is Yekini with a spectacular attempt. He certainly had the time to bring it down and consider something a little bit more conventional, but he went for glory and was well wide of the mark. The first time really that Zaire have been undone at the back. It was a stirring run down the left-hand side by Alahor and a very deep and troublesome cross. Okachukwu. Good on the ball too. Very good on the ball. Yekini trying to play it back into his path. There's a chance here for Keshi! What a terrific goal! Oh, it's been disallowed. He just strayed offside. No, there was a little push in the opinion of the referee.
Well, the referee looked as if he signalled a push. Perhaps he was offside.
Didn't see the flag go up.
Didn't see the flag go up. Absolutely right. Keshi did superbly, struck it very, very well. And I think Zaire have been a little bit lucky there.
It was Stephen Keshi's long run from the back. They're two towering centre-backs, Keshi and Okachukwu. But Keshi, the captain it was that time, who took it up and just carried on going. And when Yekini gave him the return pass, his finish was tremendous. But the goal's been ruled out. It's 0-0. Yekini. Seized upon by Lokosi. But that a reminder of that extra little bit of class that Nigeria have. We haven't seen too much of it surfacing so far in this game. But if Zaire were beginning to think that they were having things their own way, they've had an alarm call. And here's Keshi leading from the back once more. He's got an appetite for it now. He stayed in there, but the cross is turned away by Lokosi. Badi. Nigeria has suddenly turned up the temperature. Alahor with the cross. Goalkeeper was brave, but it's broken for Sia and knocked in. I think Yekini's the goal scorer. It'll count this time, and it is Rashidi Yekini. His third goal of the tournament. Nigeria take the lead after 22 minutes, and they serve notice that they were finding their rhythm and their form.
Well, Americani's come like an absolute lunatic. There was no chance at all. He might as well did abandon the goal line. There was still an awful lot to play, even if Nigeria did win the headed ball. Out he comes, and it's those situations you must catch the ball. You must catch it cleanly. He hasn't been able to do that, and they're 1-0 behind. You mentioned that Keshi could have scored or did score earlier on, and the goal was disallowed. It looked on the cards in the last 3 or 4 minutes because Nigeria looked as if they could do that. Zaire never really recovered composure from Keshi's striking goal.
We're at the midpoint in the first half. A first half which on points has belonged to Zaire, but the first big knockdown blow delivered by Rashidi Yekini for Nigeria. 2 against Kenya in the last match, and now a goal against Zaire to give the Nigerians the lead. Corner kick to Zaire though. They really must strike back quickly. Bwana is forward, has got a header on. Not been at all well dealt with. Awkward for Agu, but there's the difference maybe between the two goalkeepers. Under pressure, he was able to hold on.
I think what Zaire were complaining about a moment before that, Clive, was the possibility of a handball. Not in this particular incident, for the one from where the corner was forced. But here, Agu has come and collected very, very comfortably. He's looked not a bad goalkeeper, in all honesty. One like Mericani at the other end, I felt in his very first game against Morocco that he looked all over the place, that a wee bit like the Brazilians, you feel that he must be their worst outfield player if he ends up playing in goal.
Free kick to Zaire. They've responded quite well to the setback of that goal. Not changed the flow of the game too much. Although talking about the flow, you have to say in the 2-3 minutes leading up to Yekini's goal, Nigeria had suddenly arrived in the game. Well, they've got a free kick to defend against now right on the edge of their penalty area. Bardi is the man in trouble. And the marvellous spirit that Zaire have shown in this game so far may be broken unless they can get back into the game quickly. Kingambo, number 16, is looking the man most likely. Everybody back to help out in the wall. Kingambo left it in the end, and it was bent, and Agu had to watch it very carefully. Just wide of the post by Akanza Simba.
Better idea. He's trying to curve it in at the near post, but in truth, if Agu had been beaten there, he wanted shooting.
Well, he lined up the wall pretty well. It would have taken a heck of a free kick to bend it round on the wall side and to have squeezed it in, and Agu inevitably had enough time to shuffle across and cover the post. I just wondered if he might just have got a touch there on the replay, but a goal kick was given. Here's Keshi. And this is Eziogu.
Nigeria have now made the breakthrough, Clive, and I feel that they'll make Zaire really work for it now. They'll keep possession as much as they can. They look reasonably comfortable in possession, certainly in the back four, and also knowing that the two lads up front are likely to cause problems at any stage. They'll chase. They'll have Zaire chasing a little bit. Therefore, it's important for Zaire regain composure. Let's get back into the game.
1-0, Nigeria in green lead. Goal by Rashidi Yekini of Vitória Setúbal in Portugal. A little bit of a problem at the moment for Kambi Kasongo. Clearly in some discomfort there, the Zaire defender. Nigeria hoping to cause more discomfort now from the free kick. And maybe in trying to search out Mericani in the air. Maybe just a little bit too anxious to knock it long up towards the Zaire goalkeeper, who was unable to collect that earlier cross from Elahor. Under pressure from Yekini. And Clemens Vesterhoff's side took the lead despite the clearance by Buana, which prevented Sia from scoring. Yekini was quickly on the ball. And Nigeria have the advantage. Keshi's header. Clearance by Olika. Now Eziogu. Sia. When they get into their stride, they're very pacey players and very comfortable in possession. That was run by Adepoju, hitting the defenders. They've always got the experience of Keshi there, and Chuku, his partner in crime at the back, try and keep Kana and company quiet.
Zaire showed commendable spirit against Morocco to get back into the game. They conceded a very, very dubious goal in the last moment of the match and were able to get 5 or 6 players forward to grab an equaliser. So, as I say, they need to get through this next 10 or 15 minute spell. It's not that Nigeria are putting them under undue pressure. It's just that what they don't want is for Nigeria to get into a rhythm that they're easily capable of doing, and suddenly Zaire can't get the ball for the next 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah, that's the important thing, is to make a few challenges further up the field. Let's get it again. Let's get confident.
Yes, Nigeria actually have looked probably the most composed side in the competition so far. There's an air of professionalism about them which one or two of the others don't have, and that's what Zaire have got to attack first. They've got to deny Nigeria the chance to settle and consolidate on the lead that Yekini has given them. The Zaire coach is Kalala Mukendi. He's been with the national setup for over 10 years now, but they've had a succession of European coaches ahead of him. They've gone for a home-based leader for these Nations Cup finals, and so far so good. Few expected Mukendi's team to squeeze through that first group, but one of the features of the opening week of the African Nations Cup has been the demise of the Arab-based countries. Morocco, Algeria and Egypt already home, having failed to make it through the first phase. There are only 4 casualties at the first hurdle, Kenya the others. But amazing how the Black African and particularly the West African sides have imposed themselves on the competition so far. And it's Nigeria of West Africa leading Zaire by 1-0 with half an hour gone in this quarter-final match.
It is quite surprising when you consider that despite Cameroon's efforts of late, that if you think about the African nations, you think immediately of Morocco and Algeria, the sides who've participated in recent World Cups.
Egypt were quite a useful side actually last in Italia 90. Tidied up by Makengo that time.
Sorry, forgot to mention that as well.
Just signs now though of Nigeria starting to play the game the way they want to.
Exactly, they've got in front, which is the real big thing in a quarter-final. You're in a great position if you can get the first goal here. And as I say, as we had mentioned before, we felt that Zaire were the team that needed to score first, just to bring Nigeria out into the open to play a little bit. Instead, what we've had now is Nigeria absolutely running the show at the moment, and Zaire just getting a wee bit annoyed with themselves, a wee bit loose in their play. They're giving the ball away with monotonous regularity when they have it in decent positions, and at the moment Nigeria are looking very, very comfortable.
Eziogu. Well, that was a useful run, but off balance, he couldn't squeeze the cross back into the penalty area.
But having said that, while there's only 1 goal between them, Nigeria haven't been able to open up the 2-goal gap that they probably would want. And while there's, as I say, only a goal between the sides, then Zaire is still in it. I think they've got to believe that as well.
I can't think of a team that I've seen in the competition so far that can look as comfortable with a 1-goal lead as Nigeria. They're disciplined at the back, and they always have the outlet up front of the power of Yekini and the pace of Sia. Challenged by Eziogu there in midfield. Here's Buana. Header away was by Adam Poshu, who was covering for the fullback downfield. Gambo. Here's Buana. Return ball hopelessly overhit That's a dangerous ball down the field for Sia to try and make something of for Nigeria. Eziogu keen to support, and that's a better cross. Well, hooked beyond Yekini and just beyond Alahor too.
Yeah, it was difficult to get a decent cross in there. He's done very, very well to get to the byline.
Stephen Keshi, the Nigerian captain. Sia, Eziogu. Nice link up again. Eziogu trying to get in behind them once again. And this time he's at least managed to win a corner. There's some fine specimens of manhood out there in the middle. Some very strong and quick players in these Nations Cup Championships. Marvellous level of fitness and preparation. Great athletes on the field. Yekini there, the number 8, big strapping centre forward. Real handful. Heading back towards Sia this time. Trying to set up the shot from the edge of the penalty area. It was always rising, but didn't rise too far over the crossbar. Thompson Oliha popping up from midfield, well set up.
He hasn't pushed play very far, but that was good play, excellent play. Held the body on and he smashed it across the over the bar. But the point is this here, that Zaire finding it very, very difficult at the minute, Clive, to be able to defend. You know that Nigeria have been able to get down the touch lines, they've been able to play the ball into people, and CSC and Yekini have been able to hold players off. It will knock it back to incoming midfield players to have a shot. It's very, very much going in Nigeria's favour at the moment.
Saw there number 16, Kingawa, who's very much the playmaker for Zaire, getting more and more frustrated with the men around him. And a yellow card shown. Eziogu has erred once too often for the referee's liking. And that's the first caution of this quarter-final. It was a no-nonsense challenge, that's for sure.
I thought it was very harsh booking myself.
9 minutes of the first half remaining. Bwana in there with a header, hit the inside of the post, and what a good chance from the rebound. Blazed high over the crossbar, and what an escape that was for Nigeria. And no doubt about it, Ikanza Simba let them off the hook after Bwana had struck the upright.
That was an absolutely terrific header, terrific. Oh, you can't believe it, he squeezed it wide, squeezed it left foot. You think he's going to get it on target. But as I say, that's what they did, despite, you don't know again whether it's going to be more fateful, the fact that he's missed it and they haven't been able to put in the rebound. It's a terrific header, smashed it against the post. Well, what can you do, what can you do?
Well, what he could have done was knock it about 2-3 feet to the right, and we'd have been all square. But here's Sia, Nigeria still leading by 1-0. But Bwana, the big central defender, who came forward in the opening minute of the game against Cameroon and grabbed a goal, was a whisker away of getting a really important goal for Zaire with just 8 minutes of the first half remaining. If they could have somehow gone into the interval all square, and they still have an opportunity to do that, but if they could have equalised at that point, then they could have picked up where they started at the beginning of the game and really given themselves a boost. Still 1-0 to Nigeria. Still opportunities though. And Agu again is tested in the air, and again he's up to the test. He's courageous and he's very, very solid indeed. He was under some pressure there. Simba was in there trying to atone for his earlier error. But Agu had eyes only for the ball.
Agu has done superbly. Again, grabbed over 3 or 4 bodies, come down with it. And I think he gives the Nigerian defence an awful lot of confidence. They feel that he's in command there. Hasn't dropped anything at all. Absolutely no chance with that header against the post, and has looked very, very commanding.
There's one Nigerian defender who's not too keen on him at the moment, because Eziogu got an absolute clattering from his goalkeeper. Actually, he doesn't look too good there, Agu. You'll see number 14, Eziogu, trying to get back there and help out with the defence, the green number 14. And because the goalkeeper comes so boldly and so bravely, Eziogu comes off worst.
I don't think Agu actually got a touch on him. I think it was the way he fell more than anything else.
I think the number 14's head might have gone up into Agu's chin. They're both a little bit the worse for wear at the moment. Nigerian supporters are happy enough, but he got a mouthful of something.
Bad news for Zaire is that the break in play gives them a little bit more time to think about that miss, and it's just, as you say, just before half-time. It'd be brilliant for them if they had been going in level in the game. That looks as if it's disappearing from them at the moment. But as we had mentioned before, they're only a goal behind. They need a goal themselves, but the important thing is for them not to concede another one while they're trying to get the goal back themselves.
Zaire were pioneers for the continent's football, the first black African team to grace the World Cup finals. The year 1974, the year they won the second of their 2 African Nations Cups, was a great period for them, that the mid-70s. Trying to re-establish themselves again. Simba winning a corner. But Simba could so easily have had his name on the score sheet. Far and away the best chance that's fallen their way. Fell to the man just about to take this corner. Ikanza Simba. Comfortable header really, under no pressure from Adeposhu. Didn't really clear the penalty area, but Keshi's there to complete the clearance, and here they come on the break, and it's Yekini, the goal scorer, who's leading the charge out. He's got Sia ahead of him, and now he's got support from midfield too, and Zaire are undone. It was a good save by Merikani, and a absolutely crucial clearance by Lokosi to complete the job, but that was an absolutely classic breakout too. Number 11 is Elahor. He's won a free kick. But Nigeria, from the depths of defence, with some power running and some well-timed passing, were very nearly 2-0 in front then. Americani, although he needed some help from his defender, managed to scramble it away. Elahor. Eziogu trying to get forward. 15 is Adeposhu. Keshi here is still forward. Prepared to take on all comers. And he may have left them a bit light at the back. This is Kingambo now for Zaire. And again they've got men forward very quickly. Kasongo's making a good run into the box if he can be picked out, but they both broke to the near post. The cross was long. And Agu is again the man in charge.
Yeah, the cross was far too long. He had too much time to think about it. I think it was one of those situations where you must drive it across the box and hope that someone comes in and gets a touch on it.
Exciting passage, and here's Makengo getting inside the penalty area, and good midfield play by Elahor, tracking it back almost to the edge of the 6-yard box. Very adventurous, bustling right back Makengo, giving Nigeria intermittent problems down this right-hand side. Good passage of play, this. Either side could have scored a couple of goals in the last 5-10 minutes. Corner kick which Kingambo will take.
Just don't understand that play. Don't understand that at all. He's driving that ball right across the edge of the penalty box when the danger's really within the 6-yard box.
in the same corner over and over again, and it's just producing nothing for them.
Ironically, it was from a corner in the far side for Zaire that gave Nigeria that great chance.
Really was a great break by the Nigerians. Got a feeling it's Adepoju who got in the final shot here, and Merikani just managed to take some of the speed off it, and it was knocked away in the nick of time by Epangala Lokosi, the number 6.
It was an excellent save. Merikani, you'll feel that he's levelled things up for his side, because I do believe he was to blame for the Nigerian goal.
Zaire looked so naive in those 74 World Cup finals. We remember the player in the defensive wall charging out before the kick had been taken and trying to dribble down the field with it. They've come a long way since then. And they might come a little bit further here too if they can set up a shooting chance, and it needed another good save by Agu. And Zaire are getting closer, and it's that man Simba again. But everything they've thrown at the Nigerian goalkeeper, he's had an answer to. Whether it's been on the ground or in the air. And they've just got 3 or 4 really outstanding players, the Nigerians. The goalkeeper, Keshi, the central defender, Yekini up the front. And those 3 or 4 outstanding players are really the difference. Their contributions have been immense.
Wasn't a bad little chance for Zaire from an almost nothing situation.
Offside that time. As a Moroccan linesman, and it was Zaire that put Morocco out of the competition in the first phase. Interesting appointment. He was off.
Despite the fact that Nigeria had a real clear-cut opening to make it 2-0. I think Zaire will be pretty pleased with the way that they've performed in the last 10 or 15 minutes. They've got back into the game, all right, they haven't in terms of getting the goal, but they've done everything else but at play.
Here's Sia taking on Ngombo. Belgian-based defender, managing to squeeze the ball out of play for a Nigerian throw. We're playing stoppage time at the end of the first half. Nigeria in green, still leading Zaire by a 0-0. Goal scored after 22 minutes by Rashidi Yekini. Problems at the moment for Mbaki Makengo. Just talking about those 74 World Cup finals, Zaire got their backsides kicked really when they mixed it with the big boys in West Germany that year. Yugoslavia put 9 past them in Gelsenkirchen. Brazil and Scotland beat them comfortably too. They looked rather bewildered, and it's questionable whether they've ever really recovered. They've certainly never threatened to win this competition again since their last success in '74. This is as bright a campaign as they put together in the intervening years. But they're under pressure again in the closing stages. Merikani with the punch. Again needed some help, this time from his right back Makengo. Sorted out by Okuchukwu and by Agu. Almost 2 minutes of stoppage time played at the end of the first half. Headed by Keshi. Turned forward again by Kingambo, but at the time it was Balenga who was just unable to get a sight of goal. Half-time whistle blows, and Nigeria will not only be very happy but very relieved to take a 1-goal advantage into the break. Number 8 there in your picture, Rashidi Yekini scored the goal after 22 minutes. Nigeria have had a couple of other very good chances, but on balance Zaire have had more of the play. Simba had a wonderful opportunity after Bawana had hit the outside of the post. It's still in the balance, this one.
So welcome back to the stadium here in Dakar at half-time. Nigeria in this first quarter-final match leading Zaire by a 1-0. Yekini with his third goal of the tournament. It makes him now the leading scorer. And Nigeria with the players for the big occasion. Deservedly ahead at the break, Martin?
Yeah, I think so. I think they showed the more composure, Phil. They've always looked in control. They had 10 or 15 minute period early on in the game where Zaire looked as if they were going to take the game to them. But once they've had the goal, they've looked in command. Having said that, there's been a great chance for Zaire to have levelled just before half-time. And if they could get an early goal in the second half, I think it will set it up nicely.
Well, let's not forget that Nigeria were runners-up 2 years ago in Algeria. Here they are in the green, powering forward after, as you said, a rather lackadaisical opening 15 minutes or so. Thought they'd had the early goal when Keshi got forward, played a 1-2. And the linesman, perhaps, was it? Let's see here again. The linesman kept the flag down.
He has kept the flag down, and we noticed just afterwards that the referee had gesticulated as if there had been a push there. But we see no evidence ourselves of that. Here's the goal coming up. I think Maracani will feel very, very displeased with himself. He's come for the ball. I don't honestly think he should have come for. And Yekini scores his third goal of the tournament, sticks it in nicely. I suppose you would say that Nigeria had threatened to do that with that great run of Keshi's just a minute or two before, and I feel that Zaire had not regained composure at that stage. It's one of those things, it's gone in.
The big defender there had more time than he realised, perhaps could have killed the ball and blasted it into the
it's just that Maracani's got, if he decides to come for, he's got to grab it. He's either got to grab it and catch the ball, or he's got to try and punch it as far away as he possibly can. He did neither at the end of it all.
So Rashidi Yekini, the man who plays his club football in Portugal, scored 4 in the final qualifying match against Burkina Faso to get Nigeria into the final stages of the African nations. He was the goal scorer in the first half as Nigeria went close again. Oliha there 10 minutes after the goal, just over the top.
Yeah, that shot was very, very close. But again, Zaire were at 6s and 7s. Widely important that they defend as desperately as they can to keep the ball out. If that had gone in, I think Zaire could have gone home. As it is, it looked as if it just clipped the bar, Phil. But anyway, it's missed. And here was Zaire's chance to get back into the game again.
9 minutes before the break, and up for the free kick, the big defender, Moana, with a header that comes back from the top of the post. And really, Zaire might have snaffled up the rebound as well. Simba, there, the player who holds his head in anguish.
Moana does magnificently. It's one of those, he's got in among 4 or 5 Nigerian defenders, got above them, smashed it against the post, and you feel that Simba should have done better.
Wonderful first header there, Martin.
Terrific, terrific. And here's Maracani making up for his earlier mistake. I feel at this stage that had beaten him, that Zaire would have definitely been out of the competition, and he'll feel that he's leveled things up a little bit.
Adepoju then with a shot that's parried and cleared from the line. The first half statistics, Nigeria shading the goal attempts 2-1 in their favour, but Zaire desperately unlucky when that header from Buana came back from the upright, and we feel Simba here might have done better with the rebound. As it is, it's Rashidi Yekini's goal that's the difference between the two sides here at half-time. Nigeria with perhaps 1 foot into the semi-finals. Well, we'll find out in the second half. Still plenty of football left in this one, without a doubt. The Leopards from Zaire, the outsiders perhaps going into this game, certainly not out of things yet by any means at all. And coming up for you later this evening, a mouth-watering clash in Dakar between the pre-tournament favourites Cameroon and host nation Senegal. Well, sadly, you've already heard Clive tell us how 7 were left dead after a night of celebration when Senegal qualified for the quarterfinals. That's the match coming up later this evening, and you can see a full roundup of both games today in the quarterfinals at 11:30 tonight. Nigeria, Zaire, and Cameroon and Senegal. That will all be put together for you later on this evening in our highlights package. And tomorrow the quarterfinals continue. 2 matches once again live coming up for you from Senegal at 3:30 in the afternoon, the Ivory Coast and Zambia. And then in the evening, Ghana and Congo. So those the 4 nations in action tomorrow afternoon and early evening. Live and exclusive, of course, for you here, week 2 on Screen Sport of the 18th African Nations Cup. So we're down to the final 8, and as you know now, into the knockout phase. The excitement will increase day on day as we get down to next weekend's finals. Turning the pages of our almanac once again for you, we go back to 1980. And here we are in Lagos, when the Nigerians were successful on home soil in this final, beating Algeria. Nigeria are in the green strip, as always. 3-0 it was, a goal after just 2 minutes. The first of 2 in the game for Odegbami. See the second goal coming up as the Algerians are caught ball watching, appealing in vain for an offside, and that was 3 minutes before the break as Nigeria took control and wrapped it up in the second half against a dispirited Algerian side with number 3. Rebound off the keeper, Laval, 5 minutes after the restart, and it's Nigeria 3, Algeria 0. That was 1980 in Lagos. So the Nigerians, who came so close 2 years ago when they were the runners-up, looking good here for a passage into the semi-finals. They lead Zaire at the break by 1-0. They've missed only one of the past 8 tournaments. They've reached the final 4 times in that spell. So Nigeria certainly looking as if they're going to be one of the teams to watch here in week 2 of the African Nations. We'll be back with the whole of the second half and Clive Tilsley after this short break.
Screen Sports live coverage of the African Nations Cup finals here in Dakar, Senegal. We're at the quarter-final stage. The first of the quarter-finals sees Nigeria leading Zaire by 1-0 at half-time. Certainly the best match that I've seen at these finals so far. An indication that we're now at the sudden death stage. And although Nigeria are looking capable of returning to the final of this competition for the 3rd successive tournament, Zaire in yellow have given them plenty to think about in the opening 45 minutes. So in the second time these two have met in the African Nations Cup finals. Zaire were the cup holders when they came up against Nigeria during the first phase in Ethiopia in 1976, and Nigeria beat them 4-1. And it's something of a coincidence. This is the first time that Zaire have made it through past the first round since then, and they come up against the side with the most consistent record in the recent history of the tournament. Nigeria winners in 1980 and 3 times African Nations Cup finalists since then. Eguavon looking for Yakini, but Buana is back there. The message for Zaire is just to try and pick up where they left off at the end of the first half. And hope that their persistence will pay off. Ndinga with the forward ball. Turned on by Balenga without any effect. Whistler's gone. Free kick has gone Zaire's way. And here's Kingambo. 7 is Kasongo. Well marshalled though by Eziogu. And he's got his throw. Nigeria were within an ace or 2 of dominating this tournament through the 80s. 4 times in their last 6 attempts they've made it all the way to the final of the Nations Cup. Just that one victory on home territory in Lagos in 1980. They lost to the host nation Algeria in the final 2 years ago, lost 1-0. They were beaten by a single Cameroon penalty in the 88 final, and they led Cameroon in the 84 final but ended up losing 3-1. So they're certainly due another success, Nigeria. Here's Adepoju. Yekini. Halted by Lakose. There's a real zest about Zaire when they go forward. A real clout about that challenge by Ubadi on Makengo. And he's going to be shown the yellow card now. It's his first appearance of the tournament, so his first yellow card. But Makengo here, the number 2, Martin O'Neill, has just got forward time and time again down that right-hand side for Zaire.
He's done very, very well, Clive. He's trying to make something happen on that side of the field. Very unfortunate there, because if the ball had been able to run, I think he would have got it, and I think he could have been in the clear. But the pattern of the second half taken very much a similar way to the pattern of the first half. Zaire having plenty of possession.
They've got another sight of goal here, but a miss-hit shot skewed well wide of the target by Kingambo. He's the key man, really. He's a very creative little player, and it's up to him to try and give Clemens Westerhoff and his team something to think about. The Nigerian coach, a Dutchman, who says he'll quit the job if Nigeria don't win the Nations Cup this time. He took them to the final 2 years ago, beaten by that single Algerian goal, and he staked his reputation on going one better this time. Yekini, though, with a beautifully delivered pass into the path of Adepoju. Oliha unable to make anything of it. Good defending again by Buana. He's a big man and Unite when he comes in with a challenge.
They look very tall, the Nigerians. But I'll tell you what, they look very strong as well. They're not being shuffled off the ball very easily. They're taking no prisoners. There's a couple of Zairians have fallen way the wayside there, and you just feel because they're so big that perhaps they might be a little bit awkward on the ball. But we've seen no sign of it so far in this tournament.
Yolikana, who got that crucial late goal against Morocco, is the man who's down and receiving treatment. Nigeria came up with the goods when the heat was on in the qualifiers last year. They had to win their last match to claim second place in their group behind Ghana, and they won that last match 7-1 to book their place here in Senegal. Zaire were less than impressive in their preliminary group, rather substandard East African section with Uganda, Tanzania and Gabon, whom Zaire pipped on goal difference by drawing their final match in Gabon. It was an occasion marred by fatal writing too. 6 minutes of the second half gone. Nigeria in green, leading Zaire in yellow by a goal to nil, and this is the first of the quarter-finals in this year's African Nations Cup. But the slender scoreline, slender lead reflected in the overall balance of play. Kasongo. Kingambo. Strong challenge though by Eziogu. He's very forceful right back. Managed to link up here with Sia. But good defending on that occasion by Lakose. Sia. Taken on this time by Adepoju. Taken out that time by Kasongo.
Just a hint of desperation about Zaire play. Kingambo, who was such a match winner, if you could call it, against Morocco, certainly played splendidly down the touchline, has given the ball away 2 or 3 occasions this second half. It's almost like a desperation pass, hoping that something's going to be available to him rather than trying to work it out for himself. And I think if Zaire are going to get into it, I think they just have to gain a wee bit more composure about it.
Snap header from Eziogu's free kick. Sia didn't really have the angle to trouble Merikani in the Zaire goal that time.
It's only an impression I get, but I sometimes feel that Nigeria, if they really have to be stretched, then they can push themselves up another gear. You don't get that feeling about Zaire. You feel that they're playing to their capacity, and hoping that something can come from that, as it might do now.
It almost came, but for Badi's intervention. Once Keshi caught in possession. Badi it was who came to his skipper's rescue. He plays in Spain with the second division club Castellon. They were relegated, in fact, from the Spanish first division at the end of last season. They have that extra edge of experience. Most of the Nigerian team European-based. Well, Zaire have seen enough, and much to the disappointment of the commentators, they're going to bring on Asombalanga. And Balenga, who was the man who was under treatment a couple of minutes ago, is going to make way. Ngodola Asombalanga. Looks like he's going to go up front and join Kana in a bid to pull Zaire back into this game. In the meantime, Adepoju linking up with Aliha and trying to get Badi clear down the left-hand side, and he's broken the challenge, and he's got a chance to get in a good cross, and what a poor one it was, and Gombo dealt with it very comfortably. Chance for Zaire to break, and for Asombalanga to get himself into the game, and he's done so very well indeed. Stuck to his task well, and his reward is a free kick.
It was a free kick, but the referee has given the free kick. The linesman, as you notice, the flag never wavers, never leaves his side.
He certainly had the best view of it. 10 minutes of the second half gone. Key period in the match now. Zaire have got to make their move. Runs back though by Asombalanga, but he's pushed Eziogu in the process. But the substitute here has already managed to stir things up a little bit. And he's a very willing sort, and he looks quite strong on the ball, just a bit too strong that time.
I got the feeling that Eziogu actually fell over the ball rather than was maliciously challenged.
Adepoju, Eziogu. Yekini. Broad shoulders of Rashidi Yekini, prepared to shoulder a lot of the work up front for Nigeria. And the bonus from him has been 3 goals in the tournament so far, including the one that separates them from Zaire this afternoon here in Dakar. Keshi is forward to take the long throw, met by Buana. Sombalanga just came across and stood in Keshi's way. Inquiring look at the referee.
It's an interesting confrontation.
Kingambo. He played his colleague into trouble there, and this is Sia, but in fairness to Kingambo, he got back and managed to atone for his error. Makengo. Dinga unable to link up with him though. Strong run this time by Elahor. Strength, such a weapon in the Nigerian armoury. Just a little bit too long for Sia. But I think they have half a dozen contenders for the Commonwealth heavyweight crown. I don't know about the African Nations Cup Nigeria in their ranks.
What do you mean?
There's some big boys out there. And there's one of them, Okuchukwu, back to clear his lines. Still Zaire come forward though. Use that boxing analogy. They're like a good honest bantamweight who just keeps stepping forward, not giving Nigeria a moment's peace. Gombo with a chance to throw it in, and a good chance it was too beyond the far post. Ball bounced awkwardly in front of Agu. It was struck with some power by the substitute Sombalanga.
That was a good chance. I feel he's gone for glory. He's gone for the scissors kick, and perhaps just pulling down, keeping his body between himself and the defender might have been enough to secure a goal for them.
But as ever, Nigeria are prepared to come back at them on the break. It seems that each time that they're stung into action, each time they conceded decent chances, Nigeria are the most dangerous. And after Yakini's willing work on the right-hand side, Samson Siasir almost got in. It's not the first time that's happened. He just stole the ball away from the defender Ngombo. And it needed Makengo to come forward or come across from right back. Friday Elahor. Tossed in menacingly, goalkeeper got nowhere near it, cleared off the line again by Makengo. Goalkeeper hopelessly caught in no man's land. The header was goal bound, but Mbaki Makengo managed to scramble it away. Forward comes Simba now for Zaire. It's a smashing match. Good cross, Agu's lost it. Oh, and the chance was there for King Gambo to turn it in. The first hint of a mistake by the Nigerian goalkeeper Agu. Zaire just unable to profit.
That's been an excellent period of play. You're right, Clive, it's the first time that Agu's come for one and just half missed it. He can't get his arm round it. And just previous to that, the possibility of a goal at the other end.
King Gambo had a real chance there though for Zaire. He really didn't anticipate that Agu might lose it, and who would, the way the Nigerian goalkeeper's been performing. It's put an extra spring in the stride of Simba. Good defending though. Really well balanced match. Little bit of extra expertise and class that Nigeria have, being more than matched by the spirit and the willingness of Zaire. Good run by Elahor. Sia with a shot. Goalkeeper couldn't hold it. Yakini's there again. So close to getting his second, and that could have put it beyond Zaire. But Merikani somehow recovered.
Did well. Oh, he fumbled at it the first attempt. And he's done superbly the second one. He's just got the body in front of it and it's come off his knee for a corner kick. But well, we've had everything about this goalkeeper. But to be fair, it's still 1-0 and it's down to him at the moment. Having made an absolute terrible mess of the previous corner kick. The one thing I liked about it, now I'll stop here, is that Nigeria played the short corner, prepared it the first time.
Elahor with a longer corner towards Yakini, and that time Merikani held on. Well, this second half's only 16 minutes old, but either side could have added a couple of goals. It's still 1-0 to Nigeria in green. Eguavon. Wana just impudently taking the ball away from Yakini and prompting another attack from Zaire, and here comes King Gambo again. Manful defending, this time back Adepoju. Yakini. And the defender just had to hang on to Yakini, who'd comprehensively beaten him.
He should get at least a foul for that.
Friday Elahor's match is coming to an end. For the third successive game, Nigeria will introduce George Finidi as a substitute. He's trying to stiffen things up a little bit in midfield. It was Alahor's work which set up Sear with the opportunity to go for it. The goalkeeper made a meal of the first, but he got to his feet and he made the target that bit much smaller for Yekini, and somehow he managed to get an outstretched leg in the way.
One could be very cynical and say he made up for his own mistake. I think he should have grabbed the ball at the first attempt anyway.
Wouldn't like to have to spend my Sunday afternoon marking him, I must admit. He's an awesome looking striker. Eziogu. Persistent work though. This substitute, Hassan Balanga, has just added an extra little bit of urgency to an already urgent Zaire performance. But on the break, there's always the chance that Finidi here or another Nigerian player can conjure something up. Merikani taking no chances with that one.
It's good to see Zaire sticking at it. They're chasing lost causes, Clive, that they haven't given up and they haven't decided to hand the initiative over to Nigeria at all. In fact, they've had most of the play this second half, haven't been able to capitalise, and that little chance there that Kingambo might have got from Agu's mistake, probably their only worthwhile chance. But they've had plenty of pressure, and if they can pull a little bit of that pressure around to having a couple of half chance, it might just give them the impetus to have the last half hour to themselves to really give it a go.
The great success that Zaire have had in this game is that they've never at any stage allowed Nigeria to settle on their one-goal lead, and that's certainly Nigeria's approach. They are trying to kill the game off, trying to take all the sting out of it. But Zaire are too busy to let that happen. Ndinga. That's a great turn, isn't it? Didn't quite match it with the pass. Here come Nigeria on the break again. Finidi in pursuit. Back all the way goes Kasongo. Fatigue has got to play a part in the closing stage of this match. It's been such a fast and eventful game, certainly by the standards of the opening week. Good work again on the ball by Kingambo.
On your point of fatigue, you would feel that the side that's forcing the pace, Zaire, very much that team, feel if they can't get a goal, then the more tired they're going to be, the more gaps that they're going to concede in certain areas of the field. And you feel that individually Nigeria are probably a much better side, that they can capitalise on that. Just feel it has to be a real team effort on Zaire's part to get into it.
That theory certainly just holding up at the moment, with Nigeria still a goal to the good. But there have been 2 or 3 occasions since Yekini scored in the 22nd minute of the first half when you sensed that the men in green had a measure of control and they were just starting to run the clock down and take over the game. But each time you've suspected that to be the case, Zaire have found a little bit more. Yekini and Buwana really are well matched, aren't they? 2 big strapping 6-footers, 2 very competitive men. It has been a great contest. Zaire starting from base camp again. Nothing that Mukendi, the coach, can do but keep his fingers quite literally crossed. We're approaching the midpoint in the second half. Into the last quarter. with Nigeria at times hanging on to their one-goal lead. How much more have Zaire got to offer? Strong header by Keshi. One back though in turn by Simba. Looked a poor cross, but they almost made something of it. Agu's going to be tested again. He couldn't hold on. Chance maybe for Kingambo to get it back across the face of goal. Still an opportunity. Agu made the save from Kasongo. Nigeria living very dangerously. Still they can't get it clear. And eventually and gratefully, it's Adepoju who runs the ball out. And here they come on the break. Great run by Adepoju. Might have gone all the way. But for the foul by Lakosi, that's going to be his second yellow card of the tournament. So whether or not Zaire make it through, he'll miss the semi, but Agu's coming under real pressure now.
Certainly is. I feel he had certainly one eye on the player in that particular instance. He's come, he's dropped it, he's been under a little bit of pressure in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and this is really unlucky. Smash it goal, he's been able to Agu's been able to parry it out. Signs of a handball there by Zaire, perhaps. Referees deciding to play on, and they were unlucky. They were unlucky. Oh.
Credit to Agu, having spilled the initial cross, he got to his feet and somehow managed to keep out Kasongo's shot. He can't have seen much of it. It was coming through a whole posse of players in front of him. And he's kept Nigeria in front, just. And they've got a free kick here. Breaks off Sia. Finidi trying to make something of it. Yakini was hovering, loitering with intent. But he was a little too close to Merikani. Far and away the most dramatic match of the tournament so far. Only one goal in it. But it could be 3-3 very easily. No way through for Assombalanga.
It's great credit to Zaire. They just kept going. You actually feel sorry for them at the moment. That love to see them get a goal. Really would. I'm biased really, but love to see them do it.
Clemens Vesterhoff is certainly a very worried man. Martin O'Neill came close to tipping Zaire at the start of the match, but he just came short of that and said he thought they would give Nigeria a lot of problems today. That prediction has certainly come true. But not enough problems so far. Nigeria in green, still leading by a goal to nil. Here's Sia. A little hint of handball again there, but Zaire ride their luck. Back in possession with Kingambo. Tackled by Finidi. Kingambo retaining possession though. They're missing more and more men to attack. They're really going for it now. But here's the danger. Yakini on the break. Last 20 minutes. Finidi was arriving late on the scene. Well tracked back though by Kasongo. Here's Kingambo. So busy on the ball.
I thought that Kingambo was fouled there. The referee's been very lenient on a couple of occasions. Now you play too ball. Perhaps maybe Zaire can get some benefit from it.
Simba, who had that really good chance in the first half. They've got a man over beyond the far post. A great chance! But Assombalanga launched himself bravely at the ball, but with no control. I think his heart just started to race as he realised what a good opportunity he had, and his heart rather took over.
Now this is their best chance of the game. It's a terrific cross. They've gone for the far post again. Assombalanga has just had a charge at it, Clay. There's no direction whatsoever, and he doesn't even hit the target from that. He's caused Agu no problems at all. I was a bit worried about their far post ball in 3 or 4 occasions, probably more from the free kick aspect than anything else. But here they've gone for the right choice, and Assombalanga's had a great opportunity, at least to force a save from Agu. He's not even done that, and that's very disheartening from Zaire's point of view. That's a good chance.
Came off the top of his head actually, didn't it?
I think maybe that's why he's substitute. Maybe he just can't head the ball. But he'll be very, very disappointed with that.
He headed that like I headed. Close your eyes, get your forehead out of the way and just throw something at it. And it wasn't good enough.
You say you head it. This is exactly how I used to head. But I made a point a while ago that you sometimes wonder whether it's disheartening or whether it can give you a wee bit more encouragement. The fact that they've been able to breach Nigeria's defence now for so long, they looked strong and composed. They certainly have them worried, but can they capitalise on it? I don't know. Maybe chances and time's running out for them.
Eziogu for Nigeria, still 1 goal to the good. 17 minutes left to play. Sia forcing the ball on. Live coverage of the African Nations Cup here on Screen Sport. The first of the 4 quarter-finals. Still got Senegal's appetising match with Cameroon to come later this afternoon. But the winner of this match would go forward to the semi-final to play the last of the quarter-finals, which is tomorrow evening. And that's the game between Ghana, another of the really fancied sides, and Congo. Offside that time against Zaire. This fella Kingambo's found a second win. He's got into the game more and more. Kasongo. Crossed in deep by Ngombo, and Agu's lost it yet again. And Keshi's got it clear. I think the goalkeeper might just have got the benefit of the doubt from the referee that time. But that really is the biggest indicator of the pressure that Nigeria are coming under, because he looked absolutely rock solid in the first half.
You're spot on, Clive. Yes, he has. He's been under pressure the second half, and instead of being able to get to the ball first and command it, now he's looking at players coming in and challenging him.
No way was foul there. No way at all.
Couldn't see it.
The attacking player just got in front of him. Simba. More and more fouls going against Nigeria. Not a little sign of the times in this match, but time is against Zaire. Just 15 minutes left to play. Nigeria 1, Zaire 0. A single goal by Rashidi Yekini after 22 minutes of the first half. It seems an age ago now. We've had so much action crammed in between. And so much of that, an increasing amount of that action, has been down around the goal of Aloy Agu, the Nigerian #1. Here he is. He's fancying himself as a left back.
I think the introduction of Asomba Langa, despite his miss, Clive, has given them much needed impetus, but certainly now Kingambo is coming more and more into the game. He had his field day against Morocco down the touchlines. In fact, he's coming inside a wee bit more than I would like him to, but even so, his infectious enthusiasm is carrying Zaire on in a wave here, and you never know, it might just culminate in getting the equaliser.
Better punch by Agu, but he's off his line as the shot comes in. Well, that expression just tells the whole story at the moment for Ndinga and his Zaire teammates. So close and yet so far away.
They've absolutely peppered Agu this half, peppered it, and that's so very, very close.
Great strike, actually.
Was terrific strike, absolutely terrific strike. If it's on target, it beats it. But as I say, they've just launched it in there. They've decided to go for broke, and they've been a bit unfortunate. It's just not fallen the right side for them.
There's our man Kingambo in possession again. Getting a yet another free kick, this time off Eguavon. Buana, they're going to have to push him forward more and more. Big centre-half's going to have to get a centre-forward's passport, I think, very soon. It's going to be the last throw of the dice. It's not quite yet. There's a chance here for Ndinga! That's the second time in a minute that he's come so close to providing a spectacular equaliser. And just look at the support they're getting in the stadium here, Zaire.
That was superb skill, absolutely brilliant skill. He's pulled it down. Here we haven't seen what he's done beforehand, but he's smashed stress that again. It's just too high. His control has been excellent. That's just a whisker over the bar again.
One of the two players in the Zaire squad who plays his club football in Portugal with Vitória Guimarães. And it's so easy to see why, particularly teams in Southern Europe, are raiding the African scene. I'm sure the climate will suit them in Britain. They have the physique to play at the high level. Many of them have the technical ability, and they're getting that little bit of edge and determination about their play more and more. And there's been a lot of determination about Kingambo in this second half. Headed away by Finidi. Free kick given against Yekini. Wana in a big hurry. Why not? Ndinga. Makengo. A little bit of concern there on the Zaire touchline. And Gombo is the player who's being treated. Now can Nigeria kill it off? With that kind of shooting they won't. Just 11 more minutes.
For the most part, despite that last attack by Nigeria, they've been so penned back by Zaire, they haven't been able to get any sort of
win corner. Gombo's is still out of the game. Nigeria trying to milk the moment for every second they can. Stephen Keshi, their captain, who hopes to be lifting the African Nations Cup here next weekend. And if Nigeria do make it all the way to the final again, they'll look back on this hot Sunday afternoon in Dakar at the quarter-final stage and thank their lucky stars for squeezing past Zaire. Inside the last 10 minutes. Atmosphere really building up inside the stadium. The host nation, of course, to follow these two onto stage against Cameroon. And you'll see that game on Spring Sport later on. But this has been more than an overture to the big occasion. It's been a symphony in itself. It's been tremendous football. Game still in the balance, and another strong header down. I think that was Wana who got forward from defence. Looks almost close to tears, doesn't he? That really sums up the disappointment that Zaire must be feeling.
He's given his lot, hasn't he? He's got himself forward on so many occasions now.
I think the frame of the goal with a header in the first half. Last 9 minutes, Nigeria in green 1, Zaire in yellow 0. George Finidi, the Nigerian substitute. In towards Sia. For once, Makengo a little casual in his play. It's not a feature of his play as a rule. Sia has won it back. But play's already been stopped. Zaire have a free kick for offside. And here comes their last attempt to put it round. Beniyami Cuba is the substitute waiting to come on.
Down to the last 10 minutes of the game, Clive, I know that you have the feeling that you start thinking of the number of times you can get the ball into the penalty box in 10 minutes rather than the opportunity that you want to create from some sort of wide play. And Zaire, who you can say have caused Ayew problems by simply putting it in there, I've got to decide that it has to go in. It has to go in now, and we just go and follow up and hope that something breaks for them in the penalty box, rather than to try and have little triangle moves that might or might not come off.
Abu committed again, and I think he took a little bit of a low blow then. Cuba has been credited in some quarters with the goal against Cameroon in the last match. firing high and wide. Now Zaire need a goal from him or somebody now. Already had one big disappointment this week. They were hoping to stay as the next finals in '94, Zaire, but that's been awarded to Tunisia today. Here now comes Meniami Cuba, who plays his club football in Portugal with Firenze. Off comes Ngombo, who is having the treatment before. It's an attacker for a defender. No wonder. Less than 7 minutes remaining. Still Nigeria 1, Zaire 0. But a growing sense of injustice about that scoreline. Cuba just throwing it in again. Headed away by Keshi. Forward by Kasongo. Cuba just trying to turn on the edge of the penalty area, but his final ball was that maybe of a substitute. He's still got to catch the pace of the game and find his touch. Bardi coming forward for Nigeria. They know they're very, very close. They know they're not quite home yet. Finidi. Sia, good turn, clear sight of goal. Lifted it over the bar. That would have taken the pressure off in the last 6 minutes.
He's just smashed it. I think he's done the right thing since he's decided that he'll go for pace rather than anything else, and at most if the goalkeeper gets a touch on it, he'll go for a corner kick. I think in that particular angle, Clive, it's very difficult to try and place a shot past a goalkeeper. All you see is him in front of you, but here is a chance.
Still an opportunity, forced goalwards that time by Kana, but lifted to safety by Eziogu. They're just getting closer and closer, but so too is the final whistle.
It's just not their day. It's not their day at all. They just haven't had the look for the ball to bounce the right side of things for them. Zaire's desperately unlucky.
Kana denied by Eziogu, the defender. Still a chance as Buwana heads the ball goal as Agu couldn't get to it. In fact, he was being fouled that time. And Nigeria have a free kick. But some furrowed brows. These last few minutes are ticking away all too slowly for their liking. We're inside the last 5. Zaire have hit the woodwork in the first half, had good chances in this second, and now as close as they've come, with an effort from N'Golo Kana, scrambled away off the line with the goalkeeper helpless. Still they come forward. Still they look for an equaliser and extra time. Knocked in by the substitute, Cuba. Away as far as Simba. Back in again, this time towards Kana. No-nonsense clearance by Eziogu. Yakini's foot was high. Kingambo just has to get it back into the danger area. And danger every time. Agu coming to the rescue of his defence, beating Kana to the ball that time. That was good goalkeeping. And it's just one-way traffic at the moment. Surely a free kick for Zaire. Didn't have right under the referee's nose. They can't reach Yakini. They can't hold it up there for any period of time. It just keeps coming back at them. Finidi, that's what they needed.
Nigeria just defending in numbers, Clive, hoping that someone will get a body in front of the ball and be able to hook it clear. You're absolutely right. Agu did make a good save that last time, despite the fact that he punched it almost chest high. He had to, and he got a good connection on it and was able to get it 30 or 40 yards down the field.
Here's Finidi. Buwana, the big centre-half, is now playing as a centre-forward. Eziogu, though. Knocked away from Eguavon. Free kick to Zaire. Won by Cuba and taken quickly into the path of Asombalanga. Looking for Kana, spectacular clearance. They're all over the place. Buana's in the penalty area, waiting for some service. Oh, really? He just needed to steady himself. They're desperate, but not quite that desperate.
And that was just the one thing Nigeria wanted them to do. Just have a shot from about 45 yards out. Gosh, if that beats Agu, then it really is the goal of the century. But Zaire had a good little period of play. I thought Assombalango might have done better. He might have tried to commit at the defender just on the edge of the box, Clive. Maybe get a touchdown, go past him, possibilities of a penalty. He's thrown it in there, and it's a 50-50 ball, despite the fact that it fell back out to Zaire again. Thought perhaps he might just have gone on.
It's at the wrong end of the field for Zaire. A minute and a half left on the watch. Merikani's long clearance. Turned on by Bwana. Turned on again, this time into the path of Kana. Knocked away from him, though, effectively by Okechukwu. Sia. It's good play. Didn't get his free kick, though. The referee's looking for an equaliser, too. Oliha, though. Now, can he kill it off here? Yakini, maybe. Well, Oliha obviously didn't fancy his own chances very much.
I'm not so sure what he was trying to do at the end of it all, because he's put himself into a situation where he might actually be construed as being offside the minute he knocks it back again. And if Yakini comes in and smashes it, then there's a fair chance that Oliha will be offside. However, it's given Zaire an opportunity to put it in there again.
Kingambo's free kick. Headed away, first time volley, really snatched it. It was on him a bit too quickly. Tried to dig it out from underneath himself. And lifted it over the bar. They don't understand it. I'm not sure I do either. Zaire have done everything but equalise in this game. Deep inside the final minute. And Nigeria, who really have been now cast as the villains of the piece, and all they've done is hang on. That's their only crime. They've had some luck, but they've stood firm so far. Now here's George Finidi. Can Nigeria conjure up one last break? Sia. It was all a little bit too clever, really, at this stage of affairs. You've got three of your teammates committed. Now, can they just break through as Assombalango just beaten to the ball by the outstretched leg of Okechukwu again? Bwana's going to take the throw. Good defended by Keshi. Kingambo. Thrown in by Lakosi. All sorts of holding and pushing going on. There's a good turn by Kana. Now can he squeeze in across? It's knocked away for a corner kick by Okechukwu. Nigerian defenders have got to watch their arms inside the penalty area there. A lot of pressure, I think, on this referee to find something for Zaire. The crowd have enjoyed the 90 minutes. They'd like to see 30 more. Last chance maybe now for Zaire. Stoppage time. Disappointing header. Sense of anti-climax as Bwana, who's done so much to try and rescue them, came in.
I've just not been a fan of those corner kicks. It hasn't put Nigeria under enough pressure for me, Clive. They've tried to find a couple of players who can head the ball half decently, but they're too far out to cause any sort of problem there. Again, the in-swinging corner might have forced Nigeria to defend more properly.
Kingambo forward. Here's Bwana, he's still got a chance. Was he held back? Referee is not interested. There was a hand on his shoulder there when he went to steady himself to shoot. Referee was a long way away, actually. Bwana looked a bit weary, but I think he was helped to the ground. And the referee blows the final whistle. And, or is it? No, it's a yellow card. It's a free kick for Zaire now. Watch the defender's right arm. That's a foul for me.
It is a penalty. It's a penalty.
It is a penalty, but it's not, if you know what I mean.
Oh, he was desperately unlucky.
He started fouling him outside the box, it was still there inside.
That's a penalty. That's a penalty. The Zaire have not had 1 ounce of luck all day. Not 1 ounce of luck. And what did they get? They get a booking for it 30 seconds later. That's all you need, isn't it, you know? Should have had a penalty in the African World Cup with the possibility of staying in the competition. Here it is, it's been put through again. It's a 1-on-1 situation. Thought my initial reaction was that Bonham might just have tried to stay on his feet, as that were, but he was being held. He was being held.
Well, a lot of ifs and maybes, but Nigeria are through. They're heading for another final. For the 6th time in the last 8 attempts, they've reached the semi-finals of the African Nations Cup. It's a tremendous achievement for Nigeria. But although Rashidi Yekini's goal has made those supporters very, very happy midway through the first half, the fact is that all the sentiment and all the sympathy here is with Zaire. They hit the woodwork in the first half. They had an effort cleared off the line in the second. And in the last action of the game, they had a clear penalty turned down. It's Nigeria who go through to meet the winners of tomorrow's quarter-final between Ghana and Congo. We've still got Senegal versus Cameroon to come on Screen Sport.